So welcome. Shabbat Shalom, every single one of you. Shabbat Shalom, Jim. Sit in the inner circle, please. Be merciful. It is today the night that we count the 35th day of the Omer, which is a counting between Passover and Shavuot. So welcome to the 35th night of the Omer, and welcome to Shabbat. And welcome, we have 4 guests with us tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to our humble halls. And just as an explanation, this is a little bit like, I would say maybe the first Sunday morning service after Eastern or something like that. Exactly. So we had the 33rd night on Wednesday and had a big party, and there were hot dogs and marshmallows. And you know, if you have to weigh those 2 things, then you know. And you didn't even get any because you were too late, but but it was beautiful. So just for you to know. But the good thing about Shabbat is what I always say, it happens no matter what we do. It happens if we're few, it happens if we're many, it happens if we're tired, stressed out, exhausted from the week, and it happens if we're full of energy and we could actually meditate 5 hours or, you know, go to Bozeman Hot Springs on a Friday afternoon to let the weekend sink in. Whatever you did, you're just fine. One thing about COVID, we have now officially reached the medium section again, so we are on yellow. Masking is encouraged, but you're not obligated. And Amber and I both took a negative COVID test, so we should be fine. I'm just saying. And also, like, it seems like they're getting a little stricter over time. But yes, for the protocol. So, welcome on the screens. Welcome in the space. Yeah, just always that, you know, there's always some people with us whom we do not see, but they're among us. And by those, I don't mean our deceased ancestors. I mean that they're right here with us. And we do think about them in many ways. So in order to start this Shabbat, 35th night of the Omer, and also there's a third candle about which I'm going to speak a little bit later in the service. We are also approaching the end of the book of Leviticus in our reading circle, which is the 3rd book of the Torah. Do you hear me, Dan? Okay. Okay, I'll put in an effort. So the book of Leviticus always ends around this time of the year. So it's officially a marker that summer is coming. We're prepping for a new season. Shabbat Shalom. So I would love to invite, for the beginning of summer, for the beginning of whole new chapters, Dan and Steph, would you light the candles for us? You literally just have to light the match. You don't have to say any blessings or anything else. Here, we have matches and you light together. All 3. You can do it. It's surprisingly hard when everybody's looking. Amber's going to sing the blessing. So it's really just...
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvot kol tov v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Blessed are you, indwelling presence, filling and surrounding the world, who makes us holy with your ways and commands us to kindle the Shabbat lights, and also a third light about which I'm going to speak later. Thank you, you two, for grounding us in this moment.
May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive. May I be empty and open to receive the light. May I be empty and open to receive. May I be full and open to receive the light. May I be full and open to receive.
We're in the first page of the song sheet.
Ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Shiula ela shir chadash Shiula ela kol haaretz Shiula ela barechu shema basru miyom leyom Yeshuata ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 ya lai 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 Romemu 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 ya Eloheinu Romemu 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 ya Eloheinu והשתחוו 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 להקדשו רוממו 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 אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם תפארת ולתחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונחה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, ינני ינני ינני, פני שבת נקבלה. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, וזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני, וזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני. And just like that, Shabbat is here. So
What is the Omer counting? The Omer counting is an agricultural practice because this is when the crop in Israel, in the land of Israel, is ripening. This is agriculturally the most important and most fragile time of the year. On Passover, they would harvest the first barley. So matzah, the original matzah, is barley matzah. And then they would count 7 weeks of precious counting every day, living on the fields, moving on from barley to wheat, and then finally wheat on Shavuot. And fruit, pomegranates, apples, not grapes, because the summer harvest would go on. The grapes would soak in the heat of the summer, and then on Yom Kippur, the grape harvest is in. So this sounds all quite abstract. If we look outside and we have snow in the air on a Montana May morning, but it only sounds abstract as long as you do not open your email inbox. Because in your email inbox this morning, you got the new drought regulations. And depending on the number of your house, you can only water your lawns on the like the even and the not even numbers. Is that how you say it? Yes. Okay. And it only sounds abstract if you don't switch on the TV to follow the spread of fires in Arizona and New Mexico. And it only sounds abstract if you were not here last summer looking into beige skies. If you do all those things, you check your email and you sometimes listen to the news and you have a memory that lasts longer than 2 months, you realize that counting and hoping for the best and living with this sensitivity that actually, this is not just given. This is a very fragile balance. And we're counting the days towards summer. We're counting the days without fires in our own forests. And we're hoping to reach the end of August while still looking at blue skies. So in that consciousness, counting has a meaning, even if we just look at water, and even if we just look at sky and fire and crop, because we know that if the crop is burning up and if the cattle doesn't eat in Montana, we're going to have a rough year. Not only nature, not only cattle, but also we as human beings. So if you're counting, even internally, towards the end of the harvest season, just know that ancestors and ancestors and ancestors are counting with you. Tehom.
Tehom, el tehom kore, tehom, el tehom kore, tehom, el tehom kore. Tehom, el tehom kore, tehom, el tehom kore, tehom, el tehom kore. From the deep I call to you. From the deep I call to you. From the deep I call to you. Tehom,
with me for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vahed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed.
And as we take a seat again, I want you to just reflect for a moment on the different ways you're counting. Some of us are counting the days to receive news from the doctor. Some of us are counting the days to receive note from the court. Some of us are counting the days towards retirement. Some of us are counting the days towards the end of the school year or the end of the semester. Some of us are counting the days towards the end of a pregnancy. Some. Some are counting the days towards the move into a new chapter of their life. Almost all of us have something at the horizon of our lives towards which we are counting. Maybe bat mitzvah. No, that's not Amber. That's you, Maggie. Oh, yes. So I just want to ask you, what's the next big thing at your horizon towards which you are counting? Still on the same page.
Oh, 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 oh,
And then there's a different kind of counting, the one that doesn't come intuitively at all. And the mysticists spoke exactly to that when they added a completely new layer to the counting of the Omer. Because when they started to think about counting, it had nothing to do with the agricultural cycle. It had everything to do with the whirls and wheels moving in their own souls and hearts. So, as so often, people turn inward because life became crazy. And the mysticists are the generation that were expelled from Spain. We often forget about that. Those were people who saw houses burning, and sometimes not only houses. So they settled in a land that was foreign to them, and they counted patiently every day. Psychologists teach us to count before we freak out on someone. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? We tell kids to count before they start grabbing all the chocolates. Count only 2, 1, 2. Only that's yours, then stop. When we're bored, we're starting to count the different, how many pictures are there on the walls, how many people are here in the room. We count and count to soothe ourselves because numbers are predictable. And I think we've all done that at some point of our lives. 1, 2. If you're in an AA group, you're counting the steps, you're counting the days of being sober. Every day is a mark. If you're incarcerated, you count too. You count, and some of these counts are hard. So there are those two. And maybe those are the ones with which we grow the most. Okay, good. We are at the very bottom of that same page.
Ahavat olam, 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 ahavat
Next page.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. All your heart, all your soul, and you shall love, and you shall love. All your soul, all you are, and you shall love, and you shall love. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך בכל מאודיך.
So there are no kids in the space, right? Almost. You're on your way. And if there are kids on the live stream, then maybe send them away for 2 minutes. What does it mean? All your soul, all your heart, all your might. The reason we celebrated Lag BaOmer lies in the story of a rabbi in the 2nd century. Rabbi Akiva, great rabbi, started studying Torah in his 40s, very late, heard the calling very late, started with the alphabet, sitting in a classroom with 3-year-olds, acquired 24,000 students over the next 24 years of his life. Returned back home with an army of scholars, taught Torah every day, first openly, then secretly under Roman occupation, until he started to believe that he met the Messiah, and the Messiah's name was Bar Kochba, and he actually went to war. One of the few rabbis we know who sent his students to grab the arms and march into battle. We don't have too many of these, but we do. The problem is just they lost. We celebrate Lag BaOmer because it was one of the few days where they were able to persist and they were able to battle back the Romans. But his end was gruesome. He was put on fire while his skin was raked off his body. The Romans were very creative this way. So what we learn about the moment of his death is he wasn't screaming. He wasn't crying. He was singing the Shema. And even while he was on fire, he still said, "This is it. I can finally do it. I can complete the mitzvah of loving God with all I have, because this is finally the moment where God asks me to give everything I have." I'm always getting a little teary about this. But if we say the Shema, we say the Shema in so many moments, at deathbeds, in moments when we're afraid, when we put our little babies to sleep, in boring services. You know, you never know when it hits you. But some people, they said it in very different moments. And I really believe they all say it with us. So that's the story of Rabbi Akiva. And the reason that I'm saying it now is not only because of the Shema. It's also because he's one of those few examples for Jews serving in the military, fighting for freedom in a very real way, especially in those times where we actually do have to think about sending soldiers into a war. So singing Mi Chamocha does not only speak to internal processes and freedom, it sometimes means very, very down to earth, very, very physical steps that we have to take. Omer, remembering one of Rabbi Akiva's students, Shimon Bar Yochai, who was one of the few who survived. Not by accident, no, not at all, because God self protected him and his son, sitting in a cave for 12 years, supposedly naked, huddled in the sand, eating from a cherub tree, drinking from a secret well, doing nothing else for 12 years than to study Torah. They became a little crazy in the head, and when they left the cave, they were so overly intense that it is said that the moment they met other people and they were doing anything else than studying Torah, they got so furious that their fury, anger destroyed them. So God got upset with them and sent them back for another year to calm down a little bit. So they were all together gone for 13 years. But when they emerged back into the world, the war was over, and they brought something with them that is a shining gift to this very day. And that supposedly is the book of the Zohar, which is the basis for Jewish mysticism to this day. So it's all connected. The fury, anger, and the enlightenment, the crazy, the war, the burning, but also the deep, deep wisdom that comes out of those times where we really, really, really feel big emotions, and we can and are able to slowly emerge, not too quickly, because you might set people on fire, but slowly emerge out of them and find a new balance, a new you, a new kind of wisdom that you're able to carry with you out of this time into a new summer. Please rise with me for the silent Amidah. It can be a meditation on the lines that we have on the page. It can be some time that you take for yourself, just settling in, wondering about the wisdom that this chapter of your life is bringing to you and what it will guide you to for the next one. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. When you're ready, you can take a seat again.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
So, happy 35. The mystics teach us that every day of the Omer counting has a different flavor to it. And sometimes they use the word color. So artists, Jewish artists, made these very beautiful, complicated, colorful charts where every little day has a different color. Today looks kind of purpley. But what's more important than that it's purpley is that it is called Hod Shebe Malchut, which is an interesting idea because translated it means humility in leadership. And the person that exemplifies this value in our tradition is Moshe, Moses, who was called Moshe Ish Anavhu. Moses was a humble man. So it doesn't necessarily mean that he was always humble. It means that he was humbled and learned about humility over the course of his life. And what does that mean? It maybe means that at the end of his life, Moses understood that actual leadership you can only execute over a single person in this world. And that's yourself. And this is where your power stops. You cannot force anyone to truly do and think and feel what you want them to feel. And we know about him that he was incredibly short-tempered and actually really easy to get angry, and quite fiery in his responses. But towards the end of his life, supposedly he understood that. You have full control over yourself. And maybe not even that. So to lean into this and to realize we have so much power over this one person and what this one person does in this world. That is day number 35. So please rise with me as Amber is going to sing beautifully the blessing for the 35th day of the Omer. It's not in the sheet. Please take a seat. And I said, I'll speak a little to the third candle, which is not a typical Shabbat candle, just for the guests, right? This is something that I invented. So don't try to look it up. It's the candle that I bring out every now and then during this year, which is a special year. It's a Shemitah year. It is the 7th year in which the land rests. So, after Passover, at least on my horizon, I see Yom Kippur. This is when the Shemitah year will end. It's supposed to be a year where we push the pause button, where we take some time to reassess, reorient, if we can take a break. Sometimes we can't. And just figure out where it is that we're heading, and what grows naturally and what takes a lot of effort. And maybe you should stop what you do when it takes too much effort. So in this space that we make, and in this week's Torah portion, this is why it's there. This week's Torah portion, we study the laws of this year of Shemitah. So it's a good reminder. We're still in it. Don't give up on it. I talked about it on the Jewish New Year of Rosh Hashanah, and I talked about it a little more times, but it's still happening until Yom Kippur. You can still take some time to push that button. But the people sometimes who push that button unwillingly are the people who are bound to their beds, or who suddenly go through a time of extensive sickness. So I bring this little extra light to our attention as we remember Fred Leopold, who is battling, Marjorie Lazar, the sister of Bill Lazar, who is also battling, Courtney Alexander, the sister of Monique Summer, who is battling eternally, Fern Levin, the mother of Randy Levin, who is doing more and more badly, and Randy is in Chicago right now helping her to move and to settle her house. So if she's not here, think of her, and when you see her again, maybe don't all ask her, how are you? But just maybe ask, can I do anything for you? And we are thinking of Bernard Reiner, husband of Joyce Reiner, living in Massachusetts, being with us on YouTube, who is also going into surgery. So it's all those names, and I want to invite you, if you have other names on your heart, you can either say them out loud, or you can say them very quietly in your hearts. All the people in this community or outside of this community that you can think about who might need a little extra light and a little extra breathing space. And it might even be yourself. We are on the next page, the healing prayer.
Ana Elana Rifinala Ana Elana Rifinala Ana Elana Rifinala עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אין עוד, 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 אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני שמו אחד. אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין עוד, אין
Ein od. There's nothing else. And then the next thing we say is Kaddish. Rising up God's name. So we have quite a couple of names to mention here, but I do want to say the Kaddish is the prayer of the ones who are alive, closest to the ones who passed. And looking at the list of names and knowing the people who are still alive, saying this prayer with us on YouTube or sometimes in this space, it's not only God's name who rises, it's also them. Because in this time of mourning, so many really outgrow themselves and stretch and become and rise up to completely new ways of being. So we're saying the Kaddish together in memory of those who passed, reminding ourselves of those heroes we have among us who lived through those times, and in praise of God's name. Please rise. Yitkadal veyitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei, בחי יחון וביום יחון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתחומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. Please take a seat. We're remembering together Kate Klingensmith's brother Dave, Maury Dornberg, the father of Dave Dornberg, Wendy Marcus' husband Michael, Steve Zimmerman's wife, Suzanne Zimmerman, and Henry and Rhoda Sue Bertucci's grandson, Matthew Bertucci. Are there any names?
Sally Tandy, Adrian Duncan.
We're a spiral at the bottom of the same page.
We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home. Earth we are, and earth we will be. Earth we are, and earth we will be. We are a spiral. We are a spiral. We are a spiral coming home.
Apropos coming home, Shalom Aleichem on the next page.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalem, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzeitzchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Light one is grape juice. Yes, thank you so much for doing this. Yes, I have grape juice. So when you have your wine, please rise with me. And as long as you're still waiting for it, let me share all the things you need to know about. So, next Friday night, we're doing something that we have never done before. We will have challah, we will have wine. We have little plastic things on which you can sit. And you are welcome to bring whatever you want to eat. We'll meet at the synagogue yard, unless it's snowing, I guess. Then we don't do this. Then we'll do a Zoom family service like we usually do. And you can just hang. I will tell a story, we will eat a little bit, and then you go home. It's at 6:30 in the synagogue yard. I have one, thank you. That is next Friday. That's next Friday. And you can, yes, it's a potluck. So you just bring something, you know, if the weather's semi okay, then we maybe like are a little bit outside and a little bit inside. I don't know. I'm learning this. I put these things on the calendar before. Who knows? Okay. Tomorrow is Torah study with me. Next week is Torah study 2. Sunday we have Hebrew at 7 p.m. online. This Wednesday we actually do have a teaching session at 6:30, right? Yes, 6:30 here in the space, and it is also on Zoom, and the link is in the newsletter, and the topic this time is the meaning of life, according to the rabbis. So if you've ever wondered, this is your time to show up. Again, the sessions are not based one upon the other. I mean, they're connected, there are certain threads, but you can show up just for one and then never come again. I don't hold it against you. And then next Sunday, that is the 29th, the women's group is meeting for the first and only time on a Sunday, and also earlier than we usually meet at 12. And the reason is that we're going to have a guest speaker on Zoom who is talking to us from Israel, who is too frum to do this on Shabbat, and also 9 hours ahead of us. So we had to a little bit accommodate, but it's going to be exciting. And there's going to be food. And if you are just interested in having some fun, then you can come here on Tuesday at 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. to play mahjong with us. So that's the week. There's no lack of things to do. So if you're ready, please rise for this moment of Friday night Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu ושבת קודשו באהבה ורצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים. Did you get anything? Oh. Okay. Whatever. And look at this. Thank you, Carly, for this most beautiful challah purchased at Wild Crumb. I know, but still. And thank you, Marjorie, for all the candles. And thank you, Amber, for all the music. This is Wild Crumb. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'te'avon.
I've never seen one with that. Wow, that's beautiful. They don't sell that. You ordered it. Wild crumb here? No, it was a special order. It was on the trip. Where are they located? It was next door to my house. So wait a minute. It wasn't on special order?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
No.
Really?
Okay, you should start taking some pieces. Take a piece.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, good.
But that is, it's like multi-seated, yeah, it's like all of our
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.